So let's talk a little bit about the Dallas Card Show. Now, I have set up at the Dallas Card Show twice as a vendor, both times. Great time. Some things you should know: it's a very expensive trip. I got my grays coming back in. Very expensive trip for me. I'm in the PA area to Dallas. Hotel, the show as a vendor, and flight, and then food. You're looking about $1,000 just to get down there and do all that. That's not anything else. Maybe that includes the Uber. For me, the airport is about a $40 Uber ride from the airport to and from, so that's $80 for the weekend. So yeah, you're looking about $1,000 just to set up down there. So overall, if you bring the right stuff, mostly high-end and case hits, and you have plenty of it, you're going to do well. Down on the West Coast, you buy strong and pay strong. So the stuff that we can do down here, where I'm buying people out at 75 to 80%, you can't do that down in Dallas. No one's going to fly for that. You barely can get any deals done at 85%. So if you're watching this video and you've never been to Dallas, just know that if you go down there, you're going to buy heavy, but you can also sell heavy at high percentages. So just keep that in mind. But this time we emailed them and they didn't get back to us. And I'm going to go into detail about that. But my buddy wanted to go, and it was the first time we were going to walk around and buy. So we only went for Thursday and Friday. My biggest pet peeve with the show, now I'm going to be critical here of Dallas, and I know that everybody and their mother loves the Dallas Card Show, and I love it too. It's widely regarded as the second best show in the country outside of National. I think Burbank, from what I hear, I haven't done Burbank yet, Burbank has overtaken or tied for being considered the second best show outside the National, even though the National has many logistical problems. I've talked about that in the past, but that's another story for another day. It's still at least the biggest show. But outside of that, Dallas and Burbank are probably your number two. And I have to be a little bit critical of Dallas. And it's okay to sometimes be critical of the things that are up top or number one. But I saw a different perspective this time as a buyer. And it really turned me off to the point where I don't know that I'm going to go do Dallas anymore. So the biggest thing was the pricing of the tickets. And I have them up here, so that's why I'm looking off screen, because I want to be correct. They have 3 different levels. They have a weekend pass that's considered VIP access, which is $35. That's for all 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that's a certain time frame that you can enter. They have the VIP access. So there's VIP access and then there's VIP all access. The VIP all access is $90, and that's as soon as they they closed all 4 days. And then they have general admission, which is $15. And I believe on Saturday and Sunday, the VIP is only like an hour or a half hour extra. I believe on Thursday there is no general admission. And they have the VIP and the all VIP. And then Friday, I think general admission is at 2, VIP is at 9 a.m. And then Saturday and Sunday, I think the only difference is by a half hour. So all of that, I think, is bullshit. And the biggest thing that's bullshit is that they do not sell all access VIPs for one day. And here's the problem. For someone like me and many people on Thursday, we flew down with the intentions to leave Friday. So I wanted to buy an all access pass for Thursday and Friday. You can't do that. They don't offer that. You have to buy the entire weekend pass, even though I'm not going to be there Saturday and Sunday. And this creates another problem for them, which I had to see firsthand so I can speak on it. And it was a big issue. Multiple people in line behind us were wanting to do the same thing. They wanted to buy a one-day all-access pass. The VIP pass, the regular one, you could come in at 6 o'clock on Thursday, and the show ended at 9. Now, for those that are avid card goers, you know that 3 hours at a card show is not really enough time to do anything. You know, you get to buy in, you know, somewhat larger deals, and 2 tables could take you 3 hours. 1 table could take you 3 hours. So there's really no point in having that time frame, in my opinion. 3 hours is just not enough. Why would I pay for only 3 hours? There's some card shows on Saturdays that I see that are 5 hours, like 10 to 4, 10 to 3. I think that's a terrible time frame. It doesn't give serious buyers a large quantity of time to look at the entire show, unless you have maybe a 20 table show, but that's another story for another day. What I wanted to say is that we flew down there and spent lots of money to go there for 2 days, and to have to spend $90 and not get $90 worth, and the fact that they don't offer that as an option is extremely odd and weird and piss poor on their part. Chantilly and Philadelphia and other shows, they offer 1-day passes. And they used to do VIPs, and you could get 1-day VIPs. They got away with that, and now they just do general show hours, which I think is fantastic. The non-offer of VIP for 2 days is just, or for a single day, is ludicrous. So I hope that someone from the Dallas team somehow comes across this video. If you do, there were several people in line that had stepped out of line because they couldn't get the VIP pass for 1 day. People didn't want to pay $90 for going in for 1 day. I had to, because I already had spent several hundred to go down there, and I was buying, you know, a large quantity amount of cards. So I had to get into the show, and 3 hours was not worth my time. I flew down there, stayed, hotel, airfare, all that. So, secondly, is that you had multiple people come out of the line once they saw that you couldn't pay for 1 day. Then you had multiple people sharing badges, and that goes on Dallas. I'm not saying that it's necessarily right, but that's what the problems that you create when you try to charge people $90 for 1 day. So you had people that were sneaking into the show, and then you had people that were sharing of badges. And then you had people like me, I was one of them, that sold my badge to recoup some of my money for 2 days later. And I have no problem saying that, because it's ridiculous that I had to pay $90 to go into the show. So, and I was only there for a day and a half. So that whole part was frustrating and upsetting, and that really left a bad taste in my mouth that I'm probably not going to go waste my time in going to Dallas again. Secondly or thirdly, I noticed with these large shows, Dallas is one of them, Chantilly and Philadelphia kind of had this stigma to it too, and I think they still do. And I noticed that it seems not only with the large shows, but with shows in general, it is very tough to get in touch with the promoters. And I don't know why that is. The only thing I can think of is that the promoters re-sign everybody that comes and don't give a lot of chance to open up to new dealers. I think that is a piss poor way to manage your show. You're not giving other people an opportunity to get in. You're also not changing the inventory or the vendors at your show if you're just having the same people every time. I think that will cloud or drown your show. For instance, I have gone to the Jacksonville show where my dad lives, and that is a show that I can never get into. And every time that I call, I do not get a call back. I speak to several people that seem to have no idea what's going on, but yet they have, and it's a good show. Every time I go down to visit my dad, I go to it, and I've always wanted to set up when I go visit. But I can never get a call back. I never get an answer. They just say that, it's a pretty tight list of the same vendors. That's what they told me, is that a lot of the times that they don't have room because it's the same people. I think that's terrible. Recently, I tried to get into the Virginia Beach show. And all you guys know, I'm one that does shows all over the country every weekend. Not saying that everybody knows me or that should give me any preference, but I'm not a first-time dealer or someone that's not experienced. So I had reached out to the guy that runs the Virginia Beach show, and he told me that he wasn't accepting vendors yet and told me a date to contact him, which was 2 weeks later. On that date, I contacted him first thing in the morning, and he replied and said that I will let you know. We're giving our dealers a chance to return. And I wasn't crazy about that answer, because you tell me to contact you on this date, I do, and then you tell me now I have to also wait again because you're giving your dealers a chance. And it's just, it rubs me the wrong way, because I followed your instructions and I wanted a table, and now you're telling me I still can't get a table. Shortly after that, I think it was a day or two after that he replied, that I saw on Facebook that all 200 and some tables were sold out. And then that really burned me, because I've heard good things about that show. I kind of had planned on the fact that the guy told me, hey, we'll take dealers on this date, thinking, okay, I'm going to do that show, and made arrangements to be there. And then this guy sells out the show after I followed his instructions. And I just think it's a piss poor way of managing your shows and promoting shows. Now it makes me not want to go down there and support them because of that interaction. So a lot of those first time interactions that you have with people or promoters is gold. Now I kind of don't want to go to the Virginia Beach show. It just rubbed me the wrong way. But there are certain times when I do my shows, I tell everybody, here's the date to sign up, and if you don't want to sign up, I'm not going to chase you. Here is the date to sign up, and when you contact me, if there's an open table, you'll get one. If you decide to sign up 3 months from now, that's on you, and you run out and you don't get a table. I gave you the date. So, and I don't mean this to be a rant or anything like that. I just noticed that it was a long time before I heard people from the Chantilly and the Philly, and I'm thinking, like, these are mass produced shows, large shows. There always seems to be looking for people real close to the end, and I'm like, I contacted you. Why can't I get a contact? As a promoter, you're wanting to fill your show up, and you want people, and you want to have a good name. I'm assuming you want to make money. Why are people not contacting people? There's other people that I spoke to that said, hey, I've emailed this guy 20 times and I can't get a call back or a response. So, I've seen shady things where they tell you that there's a certain way to sign up for a show, but on the side, they're giving out tables to people who don't follow those rules. It happens all the time. It happens with the large shows. I've been a victim of it, where I've spoke to the guy and he tells me that there's no tables available, and I literally speak to another guy that I know that tells me he just got off the phone with this guy and he somehow got 3 tables. Happens all the time. So there's a bunch of like shady shit. So that's my negative review of Dallas, is that they did not offer a one-day VIP pass show. They had people sneaking in, they had people sharing badges, they had people selling badges. And if you want to police that stuff or not have that stuff happen, do better and offer one-day shows and price points that people can afford and make sense. I don't need to pay you $90 for 4 days if I'm not going to be there for 4 days. Never heard of a card show not offering a one-day pass for 1 day. It's crazy. So I do hope that this makes it to some type of Dallas representative, and they take this feedback and change some of the format. Also, signing up for Dallas. The way, I don't know how they operate there. I know it's a bigger operation than I run, but when people contact you, get back to them. If you sign up for the Dallas show, there's a whole form that you have to fill out. You fill it out, you don't hear back from anyone. They also send you an email letting you know, saying that if you don't hear from us, to contact someone else. It's a very peculiar way to do the format. Basically, you fill out this form, and it feels like you're filling out the form for no reason, because the reply email is, if you don't hear back from us, email this person, and it's a totally different person. And then you email that person, and then that person's like, yeah, we'll get back to you. And then you never hear anything. And the times that I got in, I had to call several times. And I don't understand that whole process. So, and that seems to be a general trend with some of the larger shows, that they want you to do their show, but they don't ever reply to people. And you have to call 3 or 4 times to get into a show. And then they're like, oh yeah, we have tables, like, come on down. And it's like, okay, I've called like 4 or 5 times. So that's an odd thing. I know I'm rambling and I'm, I guess, ranting, but all in, that was my assessment of Dallas this trip, and wasn't a fan of how it was ran and how things were going on that way. I can see why they probably have some of the problems that they do, because people are frustrated. I'm not saying that it's right, but when you don't offer the customer fair acquisitions, people are going to take it in their own hands to do things like share badges, sell badges, sneak in, and things like that. But that's all I got for today, and we will see you guys soon.